When was the last time you actually sat and listened to a live radio broadcast? Was it this morning on your way here, or has it been years? Either way, the way we experience live audio is about to change forever. Today, I am going to discuss the future of live radio broadcast in 2050. I chose this topic because in my junior and senior year of high school, I worked at my local radio station, 100.7 The Bay, and I did various things at the station and learned a lot about the radio itself. You can see different events I was involved in the pictures on the screen. I also work as my school's morning announcements anchor and got to know about live broadcasting. Finally, my mom always had music blasting and the radio on in the car with me growing up, which is where my love for radio started. For the history of live broadcasting, it has been a key way for people to communicate since the early 20th century, connecting different groups over sports, music, politics, and more. The history begins with Samuel Morse, who developed Morse code and the telegraph to send messages over long distances. This idea stemmed from research by scientists like Hans Christian Ørsted and Michael Faraday on electromagnetic waves. By 1838, Morse presented his ideas to Congress, leading to the telegraph's use in the military and commerce. As the telegraph grew, experiments began with radio waves, with Heinrich Hertz proving they could be transmitted and Marconi demonstrating wireless communication. In 1906, Reginald Fessenden made the first live audio broadcast on Christmas Eve. Lee DeForest's invention of the audion vacuum tube in 1906 helped amplify radio signals, paving the way for experimental radio stations. The post-World War I era saw regular broadcasts begin in 1920 with KDKA in Pittsburgh. By the 1930s, radio became wildly popular, serving as entertainment and news for families. Technological advancements continued with AM and FM radios improving sound quality. Despite competition from television, radio adapted by introducing new formats in the 1950s, becoming portable and essential in cars. In the late 20th century, satellite technology enabled global broadcasts and talk radio gained prominence. The late 1990s saw the rise of satellite radio and early internet streaming, setting the stage for a new era of live broadcasting. There have been drastic changes have been made. Internet radio allowed content to stream online, and major broadcasters began sharing live radio on the web. Podcasts also gained popularity. This has caused subscription-based services to gain millions of subscribers. Streaming services like Pandora, Spotify, and iHeartRadio emerged, allowing listeners to access live broadcasts and curated playlists anywhere, anytime. Satellite radio, led by SiriusXM, gave audiences access to hundreds of specialized channels, from live sports to niche music, without relying on local signals. We can expect ultra-localized broadcasting. This technology would use your GPS signal and history to give a personalized news story based off of your environment. They would be able to track your location, and with some programming, you would have a personalized broadcast made for you and the route you are on. It would tell you updates about the roads you're on, the traffic, the weather, and so much more. Another technological advancement of radio would be AIS show hosts. The need for people to come into the office, read their script, and talk into a mic to be on air would slowly go away. This job can easily be done by AI. We would expect to see AI host takeovers and less real people on the air. This would make the show easier and go by faster. In this chart, we can see that 18% of streaming music, 14% of music videos, 7% owned music, and 10% podcast are listened to compared to the 36% of FMIM listeners. With this, we can see, and of the other modes, people are listening to other than live broadcasts. In the next chart, we see these areas divided by age. We see a trend with 16 to 19-year-olds listening and preferring on-demand, streaming with 60% compared to 12% spent on the radio. This is different, though, with 45 to 65 plus. They listen to above 40% on the radio and less than 15% with on-demand streaming. There is a trend in older generation, and consumers listen to the radio more than streaming platforms. The data shows us that over 50% is spent on those platforms compared to other listening methods. In this graph, we can currently see a decrease in live broadcasting listeners, but in an increase in podcast listeners. On the projected lines, we see three different scenarios for each. For live broadcasting, there could be a moderate decrease, a faster pessimistic decrease, or an optimistic decrease in listeners steadily over time. With podcasts, we see an increase steadily, moderately, and a fast increase. This would be due to people not being able to listen to the broadcast live, but podcasts can be virtually listened to everywhere at any time. Scenario one sees life in 2050, with live radio broadcasting having evolved significantly, with stations catering mainly to commuters, rural communities, emergency services, and older generations. Podcasts have become the main form of live and semi live audio consumption, with young and middle aged audiences preferring on demand audio experiences. Traditional radio stations have been forced to adapt or disappear, with hybrid models being created, where live shows are broadcasted during key hours but converted into personalized podcast formats for streaming. Smart devices such as cars, home hubs, and wearable tech have adapted broadcasts based on personal listening history, location, and mood. Despite this, radio's original mission of connecting people in real time continues, adapting for a faster, smarter, and more interactive world. Scenario 2 sees life. In 2050, with live radio becoming fully personalized, with each listener experiencing a unique live stream tailored to their mood, preferences, schedule, and current activity. AI powered smart systems in homes, cars, wearable tech, and public spaces will enable live broadcasts to automatically adapt in real time, allowing for personalized news reports, music recommendations, and even biometric signals to detect mood changes. Emergency broadcasting will be hyper-local and personalized, with targeted evacuation routes and weather tracking tailored to specific locations. Advertising and sponsorships will also change, with local ads, custom offers, and personalized event invites integrated into the live feed. Community-driven broadcasts will thrive, blending personal stories, real-time conversations, and local reporting into an ever-changing audio landscape. In 2050, live radio will become a living, breathing, constantly adapting soundtrack to each listener's life. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed.